I did the funniest thing. Like, you know, like, I obviously genuinely think that I'm hilarious.
Yeah, you do.
Genuinely think I'm hilarious. And this
But
week,
we are. But continue.
Yeah, this week I absolutely topped it. I did one of those things that I'm like, what is wrong with me? So basically, my boyfriend was ignoring me and I was trying to get attention in it. And I was like, okay, then I'll just do like a dance in it, like a seductive dance. And I was thinking, oh, what is he like?
Seductive dance. You already lost me.
You're not watching whatever, but yeah, I did just seductive dance. And I was like, okay, what kind of song will he appreciate? So I put on the Match of the Day music. And he looked at me like, he looked at me like, no, she's tapped.
How did that go down, Layla? Like,
Oh, I need to move this. Huh?
how did that go down?
I think he thought it was inventive, and I think he appreciated it, and I think it made him stop ignoring me. So it was successful.
I love that for you.
Yeah, it works. So if you're ever needing to get a man's attention that likes football,
Match of the Day.
do a seductive dance to the Match of the Day music.
Delisa does not recommend, but
But yeah, that was probably the most exciting thing that happened.
that's the most exciting thing that happened to you this week.
Oh, I had a hen.
Oh, how was that?
But it was like a really relaxed one. Like, we went to afternoon tea. Went to a
that's cute.
sweet shop afternoon tea. Like, and all the cakes were like sweet themed. So there was like a Coca-Cola cake.
Ooh.
Like a Coca-Cola bottle.
That
you know,
sounds
the
very
sweets.
sickly.
Yeah, but it was delicious. There was like a macaroon of like designed and tasted like a drumstick. You know the drumstick lollies.
Oh, you know my mind went straight to chicken. Okay.
No. Drumstick. There was like Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
But it was all like really high end, and it was bottomless, but not champagne, not prosecco, not
Food.
bottomless food. At an afternoon tea.
Sounds like a dream.
I couldn't believe it.
Where was it?
Is that the Chesterfield?
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it was really good. But yeah, I did that and then went to a comedy show.
Who was the comedian?
Okay, so there was 3 comedians. I don't remember any of. The only one whose name I remember is the last one. I'm not even going to mention him because I don't recommend. But what actually really annoyed me, the second one was hilarious. Like the first one was alright. Second one hilarious. Like, and I can't remember his name. I tried to find it, but even on the website, like the date has passed. So I'm going to contact them because he was so good. The third one, you know, like. First 2 were white, last one was black. What I don't understand about black comedians is like, do you not have any other content besides the fact that you're black?
It's hard for them.
It's too much. Like, it was just annoying. Like, so basically he came on the stage. Yeah, all of them had like a very British delivery. You know, like I love British comedians. Like, I just love the delivery.
Yeah.
Like, we have our own style.
Yeah.
His style was like more American. It was like, so when I was younger, like, you know, that kind of thing. And the rest of them were just like, mate, my wife, my kids, my job, like it was all good. And he was basically like, he came on the stage and the first thing he said was, well, welcome to the ethnic portion of this evening.
See, I would have laughed.
No, but I just felt like I knew where it was going. And so his name, people probably, if they're into comedy, might know, but his name is Fumbi Omatayo.
No.
Anyway, so his name is Fumbi Omatayo, and he was like, oh, Fumbi Omatayo, that's my real name, you know. My full name is... And he gave his long name. He was like, oh, for Nigerians, that's quite normal. But for everyone else, it sounds like a Wi-Fi password. Yeah, and I was just funny. Like, oh, dead. And he was like, yeah, when I was growing up, people tried to change my name a lot. And they said, why don't you call yourself Richard and make it easier? It was just all like, oh, yeah, I get stopped by the police. So, you know, I'm black. He was like, oh, Hackney now. His face to go in Hackney. It's been gentrified. Some white guy tried to stop me and sell me drugs, and I'm like, how dare you come and be stealing our jobs? You know, like all that kind of like, I'm like, this is dead. And like, you know, it's really uncomfortable because you're making, not that you can't make, like, it's funny, it's, you can make jokes about like, being black and stuff, but it wasn't even that funny. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there with like a very kind of quite white audience, and everyone's just laughing at him making jokes about him being a drug dealer and being black, and being stopped by the police, and him being kind of a criminal. It was just dead. Yeah,
I'm not really into comedy like that the way I used to be, but there's one girl, I think her name's Tamara, and I find her quite funny. She's very young. What does she look like? She's black. She's fair skinned. I think her name is Tamara.
I think I know who.
And she was on something that Word on the Curb did as well.
And I think I might know who you're talking about. And did she have a joke about Jamaican men making you feel good?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think she's funny. But I don't mind that. I don't mind like drawing from the culture and being like our culture, blah blah blah. But not like oh, Lahan Black. That's funny. Like that's dead. But I thought she was quite funny. Like she was always talking about Jamaican men making you feel good about your people, innit? Yeah. Like that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But what did you get up to?
What did I get up to? Not much. I went for breakfast with my friend.
What time is breakfast?
Well, so I'm just after what you've just said about like, you know, black people and stereotypes. I didn't see one black person out when I was getting breakfast with my friend who is white.
But what time was breakfast? I want to know that you actually genuinely went to breakfast.
11.
Okay. On a Sunday?
Yeah.
That's
Waterloo.
That's square breakfast time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good.
There was no black people.
I didn't see one black person.
Cool, we were at church.
That's a good point. That's true. When I was leaving, that's when it started to like come in.
When church is over.
Yeah. To be fair, yeah. As I was driving through Brixton, I saw all the churches coming out, to be fair.
Yeah. Breakfast and that's it.
Yeah, that's all I did. But I'm not doing it. But the wedding website has started to be built. And
your wedding website?
My wedding website.
Okay.
And they're building up I've asked the bridal party I've asked them questions, and one of the questions is what's their favorite thing about me and my partner.
Okay.
And I'm finding it so funny that every single one of them has commented on mine and my fiance's sense of humor. So I was like, so we're a joke.
Yeah.
Like,
now your jokes.
Okay. But yeah, they've all commented on our sense of humor and how like that's like the center of our relationship.
That's a sturdy relationship. That's one of my favorite things about my relationship. I'm like, we literally laugh a lot.
Yeah, we do laugh all the time, and he's always. I told you what he did to me about the tramway pathway thing, right? I said
it, but I don't know if you said it on the pod.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it on the pod. No,
you didn't say it on the pod.
So anyone who knows tramway pathway, they do raffles where you can win houses. I'd never played before, and I thought, do you know what? This time I'm going to play.
Yeah.
This is how I feel about the lottery as well. The one time I play is the one time I'm going to win.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt about this. I was like, I'm going to play. I think we bought like 200 tickets between us, yeah? So I was like, yeah.
Did you win?
Can I tell my story? They said they were going to announce the winner on Saturday at 6 p.m, yeah? So I'm upstairs in bed, like lying down, minding my own business, like just chilling in bed. And my fiance was downstairs, and then he comes upstairs. It's close to the time, so I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So he comes upstairs and he's like whispering and pointing at his phone, like, oh my God,
you might say it a bit louder. He's whispering to the mic.
So he's like whispering, like, you won, like, it's your time. So I'm like, oh my God, like I'm like in bed, I'm shaking. I'm like, oh my God, like
I've got my professional.
I knew it, like it's happening. And then he hands me the phone. Like I can see that somebody was on the phone.
Yeah.
And one thing about my man, he don't save anyone's number.
Yeah.
So you can see the whole number, and then in brackets it will have the person's name. Yeah. I don't know why he does that. And I answer, and it was my grandma. It was my grandma.
I'm not gonna lie, that is exactly something that I would do. I really support it.
Oh my God.
Had you already practiced your acceptance speech in your head?
It's like I had to continue the phone call with my grandma. He had no idea.
So you didn't even have time to come down.
I just kept laughing, and she was like, oh, it's Kweku making you laugh. And I was like, she said, oh, that's so good. I was thinking, grandma, like,
now we have to fight after the call.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. So when is the wedding? What's the ETA of the wedding website? When do we get to start browsing?
Are you stressing me?
I'm not stressing. I'm just saying it'd be good to see. You know,
I
want
coming. But now I'm thinking to do to not do paper invites.
Oh, I'm not going to do paper invites.
Yeah, now I'm thinking to just do digital ones with a QR code for the website.
I would not bother with paper invites. Weddings are expensive. One of my friends, I'll show you. She did like the most intricate invites. She handmade them.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was just a lot. They were perfect. They even came with like, you know, the
Where
stamp.
was yours?
Huh?
Where was yours?
At home.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Okay. You've kept it somewhere safe?
Yeah.
Then that's why she did it.
Yeah, but the wedding hasn't come.
Oh.
I need the information.
Oh, that was like separate.
Yeah, it was. So there's an RSVP card.
Okay.
So you can send it back on RSVP.
Oh no, I'm not sending that. That's all done
Yeah,
on the
but
website.
I have the invitation because the wedding is, and she had a paper save the date as well. And I just feel like I don't have time for this.
Yeah, so this is an exclusive because I haven't spoken to my man about it. But now I'm thinking that we should do digital instead
I don't think
of.
he's gonna care.
He won't. Yeah, I think we should do digital instead of paper ones.
I don't understand why people do paper invitations.
Yeah, now I'm just thinking of, especially because like all you want them to do really is click on the website where all the information
And
is.
there's too many aunties and uncles to be faffing around
But
with.
that's why I wanted to do paper ones, because aunties and uncles, they're not really like the best with technology.
What?
Like that will, I feel like a
WhatsApp?
digital invite may get lost. Do you know what
And
I
the
mean?
paper one will certainly get lost.
You think so?
Yeah.
I feel like they're more likely to like pin that to their fridge or pull it on the mantelpiece.
They'll find it 3 months after the wedding. It will have a shoe stain in the corner.
Are you racist? Oh gosh. Yeah, so we digress, but yeah.
What's in the HR news?
What is in the HR news? Well, my friends are in the HR news this week.
Oh, yeah, tell us.
So Meta, our good friends at Meta who are so good with data, they have been fined one of the, if not the largest, like EU GDPR fine to date. So they've been fined $1.3 billion.
That's crazy.
They've been fined $1.3 billion because they have illegally been sending data of users from the EU to the US, and basically no reason for them to do that. And it hasn't been protected by spy protectiveware when they've done that. So
just anyhow.
Yeah, so that means it's probably really easy to hack and get all that information that they've decided to take. So that is a hit. Obviously, they're worth a lot of money, but it's still
Billion.
that's a lot. That is a lot. I mean, they'll make that back quickly, but
Yeah, especially with all the stolen data.
but it's a lot of money.
It's
like,
probably worth it to them, isn't it? Imagine what they use that data for. This is a small investment. That 1.3.
I know. It's like when you're thinking something and it pops up on your Instagram. It's because of that.
I do feel like, just anecdotally and just from looking, I feel like Meta's like on the way. It's like they're clutching. What are they trying to bring out? Their own Twitter or something now?
I saw that.
It's like it's enough now. Like,
do you know what? I think when you're on the outside, it looks that way, but then when you're on the inside, it doesn't, because they share everything and all the numbers and what. I just feel like they just they may be on their way on a decline, but not like now.
not like, when I say decline, I don't mean they're gonna go bust or anything. I mean like how Facebook is. Obviously, Facebook is. I say Facebook, but obviously
They've got 2 billion users.
Yeah, in my mind, Facebook is dead, but actually, Facebook is popping. Like, I know it's just not popping for my particular demographic.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's how I kind of feel like things are. Like, I just feel like they're not going to be at the forefront for young people.
Yeah, unless they do something very, very out the box and quickly.
This Insta Twitter thing is not going to work. It's not going to be the one.
Because TikTok is really running the show.
TikTok is great.
It is great. I was annoyed today though.
Why?
I was watching a video and I accidentally pressed refresh. And I know you can go back to see what videos you've watched.
Can you? Because whenever I lose it, I just feel like that.
Oh no, you can go to your videos you've watched, but you have to remember what you was actually watching to be able to search that. And I couldn't find the right keywords to find it, so it's completely lost, which I'm really sad about.
I really hate that. Sometimes, yeah, if it's a new one, I get worried. I quickly save it. If it's a long one, and I get worried, like
I should have done that today. I should have.
But I forgive them.
But yeah, so TikTok are doing better than Meta. I know Meta has more redundancies coming as well, like very soon. So
it is inside info.
I don't think it's inside info. I don't think so.
You're not sure?
I don't work there.
Breaking news.
But yeah, no, they do have some coming soon.
Who owns Be Real?
Be Real?
You know the app Be Real?
What the hell's that?
Are you for real? Wow. I guess I'm the new Gen Z.
Oh!
You've never heard of, you know the app where like at a certain time in the day it sends you a message and it will say you to be real, and then you have to take a picture of you.
Yes.
Somebody,
I think we spoke about it. Maybe, but I know what you're talking about.
Who owns that?
I'm not sure, but it's not Instagram.
It's its own thing.
Yeah,
I think it's dumb.
This new gen don't want to do that.
The genders are using it. Oh, it's time to be real, and you have to do it within a certain time frame, and it tells people how many attempts you took to take that picture.
It? Love that.
So it's like I was trying to encourage people to be like, yeah, it looks great, but it took them 234 attempts. I don't want that.
Me either.
I want you to think that I was flawless.
Okay, millennials don't want that. Like, that's not it.
So yeah, and then you have to take it at a certain time so you can see what your real life is doing, what you do in your real life.
No thanks. No.
But yeah, that's what they're doing now. Be real.
But yeah, that's a massive fine for metal with GDPR. I just don't think Americans, this is a blanket statement, I just don't think they take GDPR as seriously.
It's not their law, so they don't.
Yeah,
they just don't.
But it's like they don't realise that actually, no, that like in Europe, there are consequences. Like you can't behave how you behave in the US with your EMEA entities or your European entities.
Yeah, and I also think because they're an American business and they're relatively safe in the US. Like all of the things that they're pulling TikTok up from doing, they're not trying to do the same with Facebook.
No, but TikTok's been banned in Montana.
Yes, yeah. Just poor Montanians.
I only know there because of Keenan and Kel. I digress.
Is that where they're from?
They had an episode where one of them was going to move to Montana. Like, I'm showing my age, but if you know Keenan and Kel, you must remember when he was going to move to Montana and they were writing it.
It sounds familiar.
I think Keenan's family was going to move to Montana and Kel was like really up. Anyway, I'm digressing.
Remember when people said that some people said that one of them died?
Kel, they used to say Kel died.
Why did they say that?
Because people are mean. That's wasn't
crazy.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I know Montana, because of Keenan and Kel.
But yeah, they banned it. It's what it is. Yeah.
What else is going on in HR news?
I saw something interesting. So it's kind of like, I guess, slightly away from the popular narrative, what we expect the end would be. But there was a viral video on the Clock app of a non-binary person in Starbucks, a manager, and a lady at the till, I think they were arguing about something. The lady wanted to use cash because I think she's one of those, don't want anyone to track me kind of people. So she's trying to use cash. And then I think the manager must have said to her, do you have a phone? And then she was like, yeah, I've got a phone. He said, well, they know where you are anyway. Yeah. Oh no, somebody else had said that to her, one of the other workers, and then she had said, well, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to that lady over there. And she gestured to this person who I think presents as a woman. Like, if you were to, so I guess the decision you probably make if you were to look at someone and think how, you'd probably think it was a trans woman. So born man, now presents as a woman. So I think that's what she thought. She was like, this is a trans woman. So she referred to the person as a lady, not knowing that the person actually identifies as non-binary. So I would say genuine mistake. And then the non-binary person then popped off and started saying, you're being a transphobe, you're being transphobic, get out, clapping the hands, being like, Karen, you need to get out, all of this stuff. I'm going to come back to that Karen thing because for other reasons, but started saying, oh, you're a transphobe, you need to get out. And the woman was like, I'm not actually being transphobic. Like, stop calling me a transphobe. Like, I'm not. And then she was like, you need to get out. Someone was recording this. The employee then went up to the person who was recording it and basically like lunged to get the phone. And then they got into like an altercation. And then that video went viral and the employee has now been fired.
Okay.
And it's one of the, like, usually if you in that situation, obviously you'd be like, protect the employee or the minority person. But in this case, like, that hasn't happened. And I think it's because, like, most people probably sympathize with the woman, and also because the employee then lashed out at somebody else, which they shouldn't have done. So don't know exactly why they were fired, if it was because of that particular altercation that they had before or the lunging. But it did make me think, like, there was all these stats around which I think it was like more than 50% of managers feel uncomfortable having conversations about the way trans people are treated at work.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because people don't really have an understanding. Like, even me, like, it's not like I know everything. And I think people are really scared of offending people and stuff like that. And it's really hard, I think, to talk about trans issues because I think as a community, and this is I guess the same thing that people say about other minority groups, but there is a sensitivity there and everyone's always afraid that they'll get cancelled or whatever. But I genuinely think in this particular situation, from an objective perspective, that sometimes you do just have to give grace. Like if you are someone who presents as a woman and somebody identifies you as like someone misgenders you accidentally, mistakenly misgenders you by thinking you present as a woman, I'm going to respect the fact of how you're presenting and I'm going to refer to you as a woman. It's for you to correct them and say, actually, like, my pronouns are they, them, and they can be like, okay, cool, everyone go on their merry way. You can't expect people to have an understanding of how you identify without knowing you. So I think that's kind of what happened in this particular case. That's what it seems happening. I wasn't there, and this is from the videos and the stuff that has gone out after that. But I just thought it was really interesting because the employee was fired because obviously how they managed the whole situation.
Yeah, that's a tricky one because based on the fact the employee like physically lunged at someone.
Yeah, that was over at that point.
Yeah, I would focus, I think, more on that from a HR perspective in terms
easier.
of it's easier.
It's easier. It's like, I'm gonna get rid of, like, if you have actually attacked or assaulted someone, we don't even have to talk about trans issue now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think with what happened with the woman, I think it can be discussed, but I would feel uncomfortable terminating somebody's contract based on that interaction because yes, I do think the woman didn't intentionally mean to misgender that person, but also I'm sure that person has been misgendered a lot. If that woman's doing it, then there must be plenty of other people, whether intentional or not, have done it, particularly working somewhere like Starbucks where you are interacting with people. And it could be, maybe that's the one that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many layers to that where I feel like as somebody in HR, I would feel uncomfortable like having more than a firm conversation with that person that I understand why this happened.
I don't know,
it shouldn't happen.
I don't know, because I do think the way the employee responded, I don't actually think it was like a fireable thing. Like I don't know if it's ever acceptable to speak to a customer. Yeah,
the clapping and like I saw the video, the clapping and getting in her face. I don't agree with that.
I do exactly. Yeah. So I think like there's always a way like that you speak to people, even if somebody has offended you, and especially I don't know if I have like an element of like it's just hard. Like it's hard to know. So like if you see like the whole point of, well, not the whole point, but like if you're non-binary, I cannot look at you and know how you identify. It's just not possible. I mean for anyone, I guess, right? Unless someone tells you, you can never be sure of how they identify. So if someone says to you, oh, I actually am they, them, and then you proceed after that point to then
that's different.
Yeah. But when that hasn't happened, and like you can be annoyed and it can be a frustration, but there's certain things that you have like, is it appropriate to then lash out at that person, even if that person is the final person? If they've made a mistake, is that acceptable? I think if you're abused at work and you pop off, different. Then I think that even then, like if you are abused at work, you can respond, I think, appropriately, and that could be shouting at the person. It could be telling the person to F off. It could be, saying it's above me, like that guy who I love. But yeah, it's just you still have to have. Once you're represented, she's literally wearing a Starbucks apron. You still have to have a level of professionalism about you. Yeah,
I understand that. I do. The person, they're an activist as well, right? Like I think that played a part as well. Like I feel like when you're on those journeys of fighting,
always in the trenches,
you're always hypersensitive to any little thing that you hear. It sounds like I'm making excuses, but I don't get it, but I get it in terms of like, why something like that happened. But yeah, the clapping, you don't have me there, like getting in the woman's face. No, I don't understand that. When I worked at John Lewis, obviously it's John Lewis, so there was a lot of older customers. And sometimes like customers would come in, say I was serving them, and then I would disappear into the stockroom, which is what I used to do. They would then ask for like the coloured girl, and really and truly, like, that's not right. Do you know what I mean? Like, you what are you okay? But I also understand, do you know what, you're old, so you're from a different time where, you know, in your time it was appropriate to call me coloured, even though it's not now. So I just feel like, to your point, you have to also pick and choose your battles. Like, I'm not gonna battle an 85-year-old woman that's calling me coloured
with no intended malice.
Yeah, with no intended malice. Your time is coming, you know. I'm thriving, honey. Like, we're not the same. It's cool. Like, so I think, you know, yeah, like, you're right. You do have to give people grace. You know, not everybody understands where you're coming from. That's just how it works. Like, not everybody is gonna come across, you know, different minority groups on a regular basis and know how to navigate those situations. But also, you don't know that woman's story. Like, that woman, she's because she kept saying, like, I would never ever, like, you know, I'm not a transphobe, like, don't you dare call me that. So you don't know her story, you don't know who she knows, who identifies as trans as well. So I just feel like
she could be a trans activist too,
for real. So I just feel like, yeah, that person should have given more grace. And I don't disagree with them being terminated, to be honest.
Yeah, no, at the point where you lunged at somebody,
yeah, you did too much.
You put hands. No, I do want to talk about the co-opting of the word Karen. Yeah, I really hate it.
I want to go to the restaurant. Sorry, I do.
What restaurant?
The Karen restaurant.
What's the Karen restaurant?
Where all the, like, waitresses and stuff are mean to you because they all think you're a Karen. Have you not seen it?
Wait, so it's like a role play?
Yeah, but they have rules, like, you can't be abusive to them and stuff like that. But they act like you're a Karen as soon as you walk through the door.
Wow.
Have you not seen those TikToks of people taking their parents and not explaining the concept of the restaurant?
No.
I'm gonna send you some.
No, I can imagine the parents are just like,
yeah.
like,
Some people get
fuming.
kicked out. Yeah.
But yeah, like, all this Karen stuff. I'm like, listen, yeah, it had a purpose, and it's not like everything that you can call someone a Karen for, especially when they're not doing genuine Karen behavior.
That came because of black people. That's
100%.
That's how Karen was birthed.
Literally, it was like these white women who continued to, you know,
cry at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, like, literally
complain for no reason.
Weaponize their tears.
Get scared for no reason.
Yeah,
cross the road for no reason.
To oppress black people.
Literally complain for no reason.
Yeah, and
call the police for no reason.
Like that Central Park one is quintessential.
That's what birthed it. No,
wasn't her name Amy?
That's it. Yeah, but that
she looks like Karen. Yeah.
So who's Karen?
I don't know. I think it's just one of those things that they all look like Karens. Like, you can see that they could be called.
But Amy birthed it, no? As in, like, that incident birthed it.
Oh, I don't know. I
think it did.
But yeah, Amy Cooper, the one who, like,
good old Amy Cooper,
called the police and started just lying down the phone. But yeah, I don't like all of this. Oh, calling everyone Karen. Like, let's not minimize it. Let's reserve Karen for the women who are behaving like Karens.
Yeah, who really need to be called Karen.
Yeah.
Well, this says that the term was popularized on Black Twitter. Shout out Black Twitter. Yeah. As a meme used to describe white women who tattle on black kids or who unleash the violent history of white womanhood.
No, but it is. That's literally Amy Cooper. She had her, the bird watcher told her to put the dog on the...
Wikipedia have the Karen hairstyle up.
Let me see.
The can I talk to the manager hairstyle.
That is such a Karen hairstyle. But yeah, there was that woman, Amy Cooper, who, there was a bird watcher, a black bird watcher. I told her to put her dog back on the lead and she said no. And then she called the police and then said that this black man was being, like, super aggressive to her and it just wasn't true, knowing full well that if they showed up, they would believe her and not him. And then she got fired. So I love that for her.
It wasn't birthed by Amy Cooper, but she's one of the most notable Karens. Like, she's the one who kind of exposed it to the wider media when Black Twitter was calling her a Karen.
But, you know, it was like years ago. It was during that time. It must have been 2020. There was all these, was it on This Morning or one of those Good Morning Britain or whatever? But there was this like segment where all these women called Karen had come on and they were basically saying that they hate the fact that it's been, like...
I think I saw this.
Yeah, they hate the fact that people are now using it as, like, an offensive term and people assuming that their name makes them... And it was the most Karen behaviour I've ever seen in my life.
Do you know what? I had it's relevant, but it's not. But I had a HR case, an ER case, and the manager was talking about her employee and why I needed to do an investigation on something. And all I could think in my head as this manager was talking was, you're a Karen. Like, what you're saying, she doesn't need to be investigated for this. Like, you're mad. Like, you sound like such a Karen. And I couldn't find the words to explain this to one of my peers, where I was trying to explain that, you know, this manager, I think they're doing too much, basically.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to say was, they're being a Karen. Like, yeah, there's a lot of Karens in the workplace.
We didn't say it.
No, I didn't say it. I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, well, very Karen behaviour. I think there was some Karen behaviour coming from the person that was calling the person Karen, but separate issue.
Yeah. This wasn't on our list to discuss, but Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby.
Have we spoken about Philip Schofield on this podcast before?
We don't like Philip.
No, but have we spoken about him?
I don't think so. I don't think we have. But all I wanted to say is I saw, you might have seen it. So yeah, if you're on Twitter, then you might know about Talks with Ash, and she does loads of like topics, like what's it called now? Spaces. She does a lot of Twitter spaces about different like current things that are going on. And she tweeted about Philip Schofield and no, it was just about Philip. And she was saying, you know, there was no goodbye cake, there was no goodbye card, there was none of his like best moments of, you know, all these different people coming. Yeah, like it was literally about, and she was saying, you know, like HR must have like, you know, just said shh.
Listen, whoever is HR, it's one of those ones that we keep saying, whoever's HR this place, that place. If you're HR at ITV, come talk to us. Like, what's happening? Because, like, I don't know, maybe they're all self-employed, so no one cares. But, like, there's so much stuff, so much controversy that has surrounded Philip Schofield for like a couple of years now, and nothing, even just safeguarding. Like, there's just so much stuff that has happened. I don't think HR did anything because they've been sleeping on the job thus far.
For real. I think this is speculation, but I think Philip said this is about to come out. And
it's been out.
No, I think more is going to come. I think more is coming. So
also, why does Holly hate him now?
I don't know.
Because
they look like they had a good relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do think more is coming, and this is just all damage control. And he definitely got money. Like, he didn't just leave. Do you know what I mean?
He said he was willing to step down for the preservation of the show. And
he got money.
I'm going to come back to it. But the worst part of it, Eamon Holmes,
he is a shady...
He is a clown. He literally was on... What was he on the radio? On some radio show, just dragging them, being like, oh, not even... Just being like...
Jealous.
Yeah, it just felt so bitter. He was like, yeah, if Philip goes, the show will last. It doesn't matter. Like, he should go. And
he's not defending his fellow old white man, where he was saying that you lot are not getting jobs.
Can you imagine? Instead of him to be like, oh yeah, solidarity. To be honest, no one should be in solidarity with Philip Schofield. Let me just give a small rundown of the allegations surrounding Philip Schofield. I'll give a brief history for those who are not aware. So Philip Schofield, was it 2020 now? 2020 or 2021? Anyway, Philip Schofield came out on what's the show? This morning? Good Morning Britain, whatever show it is.
After being married for X amount of years.
He was married for many years, got kids. To a woman. He came out and said, oh yeah, I'm gay, blah blah blah. Everyone was like very supportive. Holly like helped him. He basically put an Instagram post out, and then he went on TV and showed it. Everyone called him brave, blah blah. Cool, no problem with that. But in the background, the allegations are that the reason he came out is because he was in a relationship, or he had a relationship with a runner at ITV who was like 19 at the time, and who he had originally met when he was like
12.
Yeah, he's like 12 or something, through like a theatre company. So he got this young man a job at ITV as a runner, and apparently they were having an affair, and it was a proper open secret. And they basically said that he groomed him because he's known him since he was 12, and got him the job at ITV. Apparently this guy was about to come out, and so he came out to kind of take the story in a different direction. And then recently, Philip Schofield's brother has been convicted of crimes against young boys, like molestation and stuff like that. So I think it's put a spotlight back on Philip Schofield. Everyone's been like, okay, well, obviously, like, is it like a family thing or whatever? So now it's like back in the fore, and I don't think you just can't escape it twice.
Nah.
His PR team has been working though for years. What kind of, whoever his PR team is, they have done so good.
Yeah.
You can't hide everything forever, but they have done a great job.
He was on the air like nothing.
When I saw him still doing We Buy Any Car, I said, okay, the team is working. Allegedly, he pays 30 grand a month
for
the PR.
Oh,
crisis management PR.
Oh,
I learned that on TikTok, so it's very probably not true. But
who knows?
But yeah, I reckon somebody probably, maybe a PR person, maybe a HR person, probably said like it needs to be a quiet exit.
Yeah, it had to be a quiet. It would be too awkward if it wasn't. Yeah.
I wonder like how like all of those, obviously a lot of them are self-employed and blah blah blah, but I do wonder who does, like, even if it's not HR, but like the well-being of the talent and all of that, like who deals with those, like all the contract stuff. And yeah, it's just like, do they have HR?
Who, as in who?
Yeah, like who, like Philip, like.
I think it depends on their contracts, because ITV has HR, but I don't know.
But yeah, I don't like Philip Schofield, so
we don't.
boohoo.
Yeah.
More violins than that.
For real. We move on.
Should we talk about the guy who...
Sorry, British Gas just took money from my account. Thinking, why are they taking money from my account? Sorry, I'm back.
So do you want to talk about the guy who wanted a pay rise after being off sick for 15 years?
Yeah, hilarious.
Audacious.
So,
respect it.
Yeah, a guy was off for 15 years, 15.
Yeah, since 2008.
Yeah, and his salary was really good as well. So like 54.
Yeah, so I think he started with them like 2000 and something, and he worked with them for a number of years. And then he went off sick in 2008.
Yeah,
and he initially it was mental health related, and then in 2012 he developed leukemia. So then he's been off sick since then, and then he agreed, you know, like when you have like income protection or critical illness insurance, so they agreed that, okay, cool, he's never coming back to work, so under the insurance policy they'll pay him 54k a year, which he accepted. However, because he lives, so he basically said, you're discriminating against me, everybody else has had a pay rise, and the 54k that I was getting before, it's not 54k like it used to. So he was like, I should get a pay rise. And then so he took them to tribunal, because he said, the reason you're not giving me a pay rise because I've got an illness, and if I was at work you would have given me a pay rise.
But you're not.
Exactly. And you're not planning on coming back to work. You're not in active employment. Like,
sorry.
like, it's sad. It's very sad. But basically the judge said no. The judge was like, no, like, you're an inactive employee. You're not coming back to work. It's not the equivalent of like pay. You're not being paid for your work. This is like basically an insurance payout and a settlement or whatever that you've agreed. And it doesn't go up like salary does. It doesn't work like that. And so he lost.
Good, he should lose. Like, I'm not being funny. If it was me, I'm staying under the radar. I don't even want you to remember that you're paying me anything.
No, but but they've agreed to pay it until he retires, isn't it? He gets paid it until he retires now.
So let me just, because when you retire, you're gonna get your pension, you're gonna get state pension, you're gonna get a lump sum. And
it's a settlement, so it's like it's done now. It's not renegotiate. Like, it's the whole reason that they do those. I remember when I used to work in employment taxes, basically they can pay you your actual salary for, when you have these insurance policies, they have to pay your actual salary or a proportion of your actual salary for such a long period of time that eventually sometimes they just say, look, let's just come to an agreement, we won't assess you anymore. We'll stop doing these assessments which are kind of long and they're just whatever. Why don't we just agree a number now and then we do away with everything else, unless you like, we know you're not going to get better let's just get rid of the admin and we agree. We make like a settlement that you get paid this much money. So that's what he did. He made the settlement and now he's like, I need more money because the inflation is really kicking my ass.
I hear it, but very cheeky.
It's so cheeky.
Very cheeky. And some people would say that 54k is more than enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Based on like the average salary.
For the rest of your working life. So I think
you don't have to work, like you don't have to travel, you know, none of that stuff. So
they said that the total sum of, or when you add it all up, it comes to 1.5 million.
Look at that.
But over obviously the course of a number of years.
Yeah, but you know.
But 54k, if I, like, obviously he's sick, so it's not like he's whatever, but 54k is more than most people in this country will ever see.
Yeah.
It's like twice the annual salary.
Yeah.
So they basically said no.
Yeah. Like it's done.
But to be fair, I don't begrudge him for asking.
Yeah. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Closed mouths don't get fed. Like you literally have to ask. Like, you have to. I would ask. I'm not gonna lie. I would also fully expect to hear no. But you know, sometimes, I'm always surprised that, like, I'm one of those people who don't ask, don't get. But there's some things that even I wouldn't ask for. But I'm always surprised because there are people that will ask for it, and sometimes they get them.
Some people are shameless, you know.
Sometimes I feel like I should be more shameless, but then also I'm like, I enjoy having shame.
Yeah, I can't be asked.
Yeah,
I can't be asked. There was one that you spoke about, which I thought was quite funny.
Oh, yeah. So there was a woman, I read it in HR Grapevine, actually, shout out them. One of these days, we'll have to actually do something with them because we talk about them so much.
It's true. You were telling me about a case that sounded a bit wild, actually.
Oh, yeah. So there was a lady who took her employer to tribunal. She said her manager was making advances at her. And I don't even know how it got there. I don't know if it was thrown out. But basically, the judge said that he basically said she was mad and she was delusional and she had a skewed perception of reality. So what happened, like some of the examples, you know, when you are drafting an email, like a template for someone, or you don't have the information and there's instead of putting the word that you're missing, you put XXX. So you might say, dear XX, I hope you're well, as a template. So when her manager had sent her one of those emails, or a couple of those emails which had XX in them, she had decided that they were kisses. And that he was making sexual advancements. I don't understand how that would make sense in the context of whatever she was reading, but she decided that. And when he had put question marks, he'd done the same thing sometimes with question marks, like, you know, fill it in. She said that those were sexually suggestive,
What?
you know, like the question marks, like, I don't know. She said she decided that they were like him coming onto her and him trying to like seduce her with the question marks, like, are you up for it, kind of thing. And her manager had used the acronym AJG, which I know is like AJ Gallagher, Arthur J Gallagher, which is like insurance broker. Mm-hmm. And she had decided that it meant a jumbo genital.
She's mad.
Yeah, I think so. And so basically, I don't know how it got all the way there, but
she wanted him.
The judge was like, the judge said that she had a skewed perception of reality. And I think that's as close as the judge can get to being like, get the F out of here and stop wasting people's time. Yeah. But and so people are saying that it's good that obviously people feel comfortable to now speak about when they feel that they may be being harassed, but obviously like be guided and actually have sense. I also feel like, would you not have spoken to anybody about this? Like, who would you, like,
as in the woman?
I'm not even being like work or HR. I mean like your friends, your family. Like,
if you really thought it was real,
she must have thought it was real because she wouldn't let it get that far unless she was trying to look for a quick pay.
She's given a high level of delusion. It's given Blanche Dubois.
No,
Blanche Dubois.
No.
From A Streetcar Named Desire.
No.
Anyone who's read that will know exactly what I mean.
It's a book.
Yeah, it's
a play. A lot of books. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't read a lot of books now. I used to read so much and it upsets me.
You need to get back to it.
Yeah, I won't.
Yeah, the delusion is high.
I can't believe it. And it always makes me think like there's an element of sifting. You know, whenever you speak to like a barrister or whatever in an employment, they say, oh yeah, will it make it through the first sift, the second sift? And they always act like there's a certain standard. But I feel like anything can get through.
Yeah,
there's always these stupid cases that get 100%. Through all the way to tribunal. And it's like anyone who read that would have been able to see like, this is nonsense.
You shouldn't have got that far. Yeah.
And this is why the tribunal, what did they say? Like, I think
Backlog.
30,000 cases or
Yeah.
something. I don't even know what it was, 2,000, 30,000, I don't know. But they have so many cases in the backlog. And this is why, because there's so many nonsense cases that should just get thrown out.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they're so afraid.
That must have been stressful as well for the manager as well. Like, to have to go
Would it
through
have
that.
been stressful? Or would you just have hoped that everybody...
Has common sense?
Yeah, I don't know if it would be stressful.
Nah, I think it's still stressful. Like, I had an ER case at a company I used to work at, and it was weird. Like, they all worked on the same site, and this woman was claiming that a guy was like harassing her and like, you know, saying certain like sexual innuendos to her, and, you know, whispering in her ear, and
Whispering
like,
in
yeah,
her,
like she wrote like pages of like all these different things and stuff. And then upon talking to witnesses, they were like, no, it's literally the other way around. Like, no. And then when talking to the man that she was accusing, he like broke down, because he was like, I know I haven't done anything, but this is just getting ridiculous. Like, why is she trying to ruin me? And why is she trying to ruin my reputation when I haven't done anything to her? So I do feel like even if you haven't done anything, it does get stressful. And like, this is slightly different, but I was talking to a manager the other day, and an employee like raised a grievance against them, like a complaint. And she was like, you know, what's going to happen to me? Like, how do I feel about this?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I didn't substantiate anything. So I was like, well, nothing. But I was like, this is just how the cookie crumbles for managers. Like, you lot get grievances raised against you, complaints.
Listen,
you just have to get used to it. You can't take it personally.
I think the public sector is the worst place.
Yeah, your point of blame.
Like, it's everything. Like, I think it happens quite a lot. The NHS is literally rife with like rubbish complaints. And I've seen so many, like, from myself or other people that I've worked with. It's just like they just do it, and I've heard people cry.
Yeah,
I've
your
heard,
point of blame.
Yeah,
like, it's just gonna.
And people really care, like, about their reputation, which is obviously important. But you as a person, you know, this is not going anywhere. Like, it doesn't matter. But they will legitimately feel like people are going to think this thing of me. People are going to think I'm a bully. People are going to think I'm a sexual harasser. Like, people are like, I understand why they would be scared.
Worried. Yeah, I get it. I mean, obviously being in HR, like, there's gonna be people that complain about you all the time. So me, I'm just rolling my eyes and like,
have you been named?
Yeah,
I've been named on, like, you know, when the ET1 comes in, like the tribunal claim form that the person put in, and you're looking at it like, why am I in it? Yeah, like it's like I raised the grievance against my manager, and then HR got involved. Like, we have to,
yeah, exactly.
Like, we actually have to get involved. I'm like, why am I in it? Like, I hate that. The worst. No, that is one of the things that I really hate the most. Like, people making fake claims. Like, there's just, number one, backlog, and number two, like, people have real things like going on, and you are just clogging up the system.
For real.
There was one which, to be fair, the right process wasn't followed. So we had, you know, some managers are just not good. So we had a employee, like, it was a long time ago, an employee passed their probation, and then a month later, the manager was like, I need someone different in my team. Like, they're not senior enough. Like, it's not that they're not performing at the level that you need them to perform, but not because they're not good, because they're not at the right level. It's like saying, I've got a HR coordinator, but I really need a senior advisor. Yeah. So they were like, we need to get rid of that person. When the documentation was drafted, it didn't have like, they just said, oh, like, we're getting rid. The person had only been there obviously 4 months or something. So it wasn't very high risk. And then when but in the letter, it didn't really give enough information, which I always write like very clearly what the reason is, just to kind of alleviate any risk there. And the person came back and said it was disability discrimination. Oh. And we were like, disability what? Where? Yeah. Like, who had a disability? So they had gone for like a gynae, like a week before, they had told their manager that they had this gynae appointment, and so they had to take some time off work. And it wasn't a disability. It's not a disability. It was like I don't know, you have some appointment, you have some gynecological thing. And then they said that's the reason they think they were dismissed. And we was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, you're just like, why are you doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And also, it's not a disability. Yeah. And also, we have been discussing this for like
a long time,
a month, before that happened. But they accepted the claim. So now, like, but it had to go through the process. Obviously, it was absolutely unfounded. But when you're in a smaller business, like, obviously when you're paying lawyers, sometimes it's easier to pay people to go away.
Yeah.
So you can actually, people can actually get away with doing that a lot because it's just not worth it. And I was just so angry. I was just like, what?
Yeah. That's why companies, like, when it gets to that point, they're like, do you know how much?
They're literally like, some of those employees are like slip and fall employees. I do think, like, obviously you're not allowed to hold it against someone, but if you found out that an employee had taken their like last 2 employers to tribunal or whatever, like, there are employees like that, like in America it's slip and fall.
There's always employees like that.
In America it's slip and fall. Here it's like discrimination or whatever. They just go from one place to another place, just taking their employers to tribunal for everything.
There was one employee that worked at somewhere I worked, and we found out afterwards that they were known for going to different places and basically smashing interviews and getting the jobs, then being bad enough to get paid like 1 month plus notice and just bounce, like, everywhere they went. They were in law as well. It was legal.
How is that? How does that work? Oh, no. How does that work? Would you still end up? Wouldn't it be better just to have a steady job? I guess this way you don't really ever have to work that much. You work on and off.
Yeah,
that's so rubbish. Nah, it's sometimes just get a job. Like, it's actually easier to work in some cases, I think, than doing all this up and down, up and down, up and down.
Some people enjoy it. Some people like going to. There was one guy, same company, and he worked with an NI number for the longest. Like,
okay.
he had a temporary one.
Yeah.
And every time, he was Nigerian. Just saying. And every time we'd be like, Babs, like, we're still waiting, and
not Babs.
It just got to the point where he had to leave because we were never getting like a real NI number.
So it was not legit.
We don't even know if he was really called Babs.
But like, you can work without an NI number if you don't know your NI number, HMRC will just
it was temporary, but it was time, like,
wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, because a lot of employers, like smaller companies, they don't do background checks, they don't even do reference checks, they don't even do right to work checks. I reckon if you have a British accent, you can get away with a lot. You can be like, oh, here's a scan, and it could be any, like, you could just make that on Photoshop, or you could be like, oh, they might not even ask you on the first day.
Yeah, it's like the passports, like, really and truly, when they like photocopy your passport and stuff, like, that could be. And even now, like, most companies that I've worked for in recent years, like, it's me sending a photocopy of the passport. They don't actually see it physically.
I have to, and I have to tell my clients as well, like, I'm like, you're supposed to check the passport.
Yeah, you're supposed to see the real passport. Can
you upload your passport? I'm like, no, you need to check that the passport
and verify
exists.
it. Yeah,
like, but they don't. I still do old school, take the passport, photocopy it, sign it, and then scan that in.
Yeah,
like, I still do it because
I think you're supposed to.
No, but nobody does.
No, you don't. Especially these big companies.
But some of them do the electronic verification where you like hold your passport and you do in the camera.
Yeah. Where I work now did that.
Yeah, that's fine. But some of them don't do anything, or they say, oh, can you send a copy of your...
Mate, I worked different places that just said, send the copy.
Yeah.
And I'll just go to my photos. I'll go to my photos and just send it.
Yeah, and some of them, like, whenever I go anywhere new, I always do like an audit. And you you do an audit and you're like, where are the passports? Like, in smaller organizations, they just won't have them. And you're like, you need to do this. And now I'm out here sending emails asking people to bring in their passport after 3 years.
I had to do that once. I had to do that. And so many people had like worked there a long time, so their passports had like expired and stuff like that, and no one had asked them to come in with like their new passport, and it was just this is probably something I should know. When someone's passport, I understand visa, when your passport expires, why do you need to bring in a new one? I don't know.
I just think it's dumb. Like, even when I was buying my flat, they needed some ID, so I sent them my driver's license. They sent it back to, your driver's license is expired. I said, am I going to drive the house? Like, okay, I had to send off for a new driver's license, so that obviously it probably shouldn't have been expired, but I sent off for a new driver's license, which held up the process for a bit. But I'm like, why does it need to be valid? Like, my identity has not changed. Your identity is not going to change.
That's true. I mean, driver's license, I get that. But with passport, maybe you were like really naughty and you don't have a passport anymore. And you're waiting to be deported. That's why you don't have one. And now you need it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, you working from detention center, like
Like, you're just working from home with the stress on your head and you don't have a new passport to bring in.
Do you know what? Yeah, a bit off topic. Years and years and years ago, there's this influencer that I watched. She's a natural hair influencer, and she made a video about how, obviously, when I think about people being deported and stuff, I don't think about people that look
Talking
like
about Visa Bay.
No. Nephew Fofo, Layla, Fusion of Cultures.
Okay, yeah.
So she made a video years ago about how she was basically being deported and how she got saved. Unfortunately, it's fine because her mum's fine now, but her mum ended up getting cancer, and that's why she was able to stay as her mum's carer.
Oh, wow.
But basically, she was literally in a detention center, and she's like us. She sounds like us, speaks like us. She came over from Ghana when she was like quite young, and they were like, "You have to go back." And she's like, "No, the rest of my family are British, and they're here. I have no one to go back to in Ghana."
Yeah.
And then she was literally in the detention center waiting to be deported, and then her mum got sick.
That's wild.
And her mum is absolutely fine now, like she's well and
That's
like
good.
she's whatever.
That's good.
But yeah, and I just like people like it just goes to show that like obviously she didn't have the right immigration status at the time, but when you walk into when you think about from an employment perspective, there's certain people, certain groups you think are high risk for you know, people who are not, who don't have British accents. Basically you think, oh yeah, I need to check it, but or people who came from like India or whatever and they're like on a spousal visa or something, you always double check those ones. But like ordinary people, we're just so slack, we just assume.
Yeah, that's true. That's bias.
It is bias.
Wow.
It is bias. So always reading your right to work checks.
Always do your
That
right
is
to work
this
check.
is the most HR content ever.
Doing your right to work check.
I don't
It's
know
important.
and also I think HMRC moves the same way as well, because there's certain companies, like I've never seen a right to work, not HMRC, government or whatever. I've never seen a right to work audit ever. I've never even heard of anyone who has ever had to do a right to work audit. The only times I see people come in and check the paperwork is when I'm watching all of these like shows on like, not TLC, you know them like Dave things where they go in and raid these places, these Indian restaurants where they think they might be illegal people or whatever. But do they actually conduct these audits?
No, they don't. They don't.
It's one of those
There's
things
a
that
lot
is
of cash in
lying.
hand going on.
They don't be checking.
They don't check.
They only check like the obvious places. It's racial profiling.
literally.
Accent profiling. But still be doing your checks, guys.
Yeah, audit. Cool.
And
Yeah.
like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. This is your last week to get tickets.
I don't even know if they'll be out by the time. We said this last week, but
yeah,
if they're there, get them.
There
If
is
not,
a few left.
don't start crying.
Yeah, literally, there's a few left. So if you do want one, go get one.
And we've been talking about it. All the stuff from the show is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there too.
I'm fun. I'm hilarious.
We actually are. I think you're so funny. You know, I really hate. Sorry, last thing before we go. You know, when people say that girls are not funny.
Girls are flipping funny, mate.
TikTok has showed me.
We are hilarious. You think people like side men and that are funny? They're not funny.
Do you know who's hilarious? Hema K.
I love her. That series. I haven't finished it yet.
Oh, she's hilarious.
She's very funny.
She's so funny.
She is. I love Hema K.
Just one. We should ask her to come on the pod.
We should. I love Hema.
We should actually.
I love Nella. Have you seen that show that that Nella, Adiola, Chloe
tapped out? Yeah. No, it's hilarious. I saw a video of
they're silly.
Yeah, I love all the gullies.
We're hilarious.
And with that,
that's a wrap, guys. Bye.